Good evening, fifth graders. Tonight we're going to be tackling a little more leave, add, change. Before we get going with adding and subtracting positive and negative digits, we're going to be working with some fractions. A little review because we're going to be coming back to fractions here in the near future. So let's take a look here. If I'm going to be changing a fraction into a decimal and to a percent. First off here we have 3/10. This one's pretty easy for me because it's already, remember I've been working with the hearts, right? 10, 100, and 1,000. We want to try and always put that denominator, I should put the 1,000, always put that denominator into a 10, 100, or 1,000. So this first one we have 3/10. That's written as easy, 0.3. If I'm putting something into a percent, I have to have 2 digits after the decimal. This is 30%. 4/5, I'm going to change this into something with a 10 times 2 times 2 is 8/10. It's written 0.8. It's not 8%, it is 80%. 3/4, I can't put 4 into 10, but I can put 4 into 100 times 25. 3 times 25 is also as 3/4 equals 75 cents. 75 hundredths, that's how it is as a decimal, 75%. Now, as we look over at this other column here, we have 3/8. 8 can't go into 10, 8 can't go into 100, 8 can't go into 1,000. So in this situation here, I've been teaching you how to remember what 1/8 equals. 1/8 equals 0.125. Okay, remember that. So what would be 3/8? 3/8, so I'm just going to kind of show you here, would be 1.25 times 3, which would give you 0.375, which we'd be putting it as 37.5%. 2/3. I've been teaching you this for a long time now. 1/3 equals 0.333 continuous, which would look a lot like 33.3%. So I'm going to have to multiply that by 2 kids to get 2/3, which would give me an answer of 0.6 continuous, or 66.6%. 1/8, this one's written, is done pretty easily because 1/8 equals 0.125, which would be 12.5%. Let's continue down a little lower on this page here. 47/50. We can put this one into 10, 100, or 1,000. We're going to convert this into 100. Go in times 2, times 2. 47 times 2 would give me an answer of 94, which is 0.94, or 94%. 6/25, we can move this one into 10, 100, or 1,000. I'm going to change colors here. 25 goes into 100. We go in times 4. Times 4 gives me 24, which would be 0.24, which would be 24%. Last one here, 20 goes into 100. We're going times 5. Times 5 gives me 35.35, which is 35%. Make sure you know how to change a fraction into a decimal into a percent. These videos are made to help you. If you need to rewatch this portion of the video several times tonight, please do that. But this is some basic math that you're going to be seeing for the rest of your life. So continue to watch this, okay? Now let's take a look at some of this other stuff here. We're going to be doing some leave, some add, and some changing. This only works in subtraction. Keep that in mind. So this very first problem, we always know that 9 minus 6 equals 3. Let's look at the leave, add, change concept. I'm going to leave my positive 9 alone. I'm going to change subtraction to adding, and then that means I have to change my last one to a negative. So if I have 9 positives and 6 negatives, that means when I cross off the 6 negatives, I'm left with 3 positives left over. Since this isn't subtraction, I can just add 9 plus 6 is 15. Negative 9 plus 6, since it's adding, we don't have to do leave, add, change, so keep that in mind. Negative 6 and 6 would give me a negative 3, because my bigger number is a negative, so my answer has to be in the negative, okay? Negative 9 minus 6. Leave, add, change. I'm going to keep my -9. I'm going to change my subtraction to adding. I'm going to change this +6 to a negative. Now take a look. I have a -9 plus a -6. So negative and a negative makes a big negative number, which would be a -15. Look down here. Since I'm adding, I don't have to do leave, add, change. -9 plus a -6 gives me a -15. Leave, add, change. Leave, add, change. Once again, I've taught you this several times now. Every time you see a double negative, boom, make them both positive. I have a -9 and a +6, which is a lot like this problem right here. And my answer is a -3. Keep these things in mind. It's amazing what a negative and a positive number can do with a 9 and a 6. All right, kids? Be paying attention to leave, add, change. It will help you out. Let's take a look at some more things here. We just went over that. Insert parentheses. You're going to need to know how to do this. There's a nice portion on your assessment coming up here. So let's take a look here. Whenever you put in the parentheses, has to be done first. Okay? Order of operations, parentheses is done first. So let's take a look at this first problem. So there's 6 problems up here. If you want to pause it right now and figure out these 6 problems, that would be excellent. If you want to follow along with me each problem, that would be excellent as well. So let's pay attention here. 3 plus 7 times 5. I have to get to the number 38. Where am I going to put my parentheses? So when I see a 3, a 7, and a 5, I got to think. I got to get to a big number like 38. So I might have to multiply. If I go 7 times 5 here, kids, that would give me 35, right? Which then I could add to this 3, which would give me 38. That's where you would insert the parentheses on this problem. So look at this next problem here. I have to get to a +4. Let's see here. So if I did 3, -2 plus 3 would give me a +1 times 4. Would that work? Sure would work. So let's put these in parentheses. Here's a -2 plus a +3 would give me a +1, right? Because a negative number, positive number. I have more positives. I would cross off these -2s, which would leave me with a +1. That's where the parentheses would go there, because then it would be 1 times 4, which equal 4. Okay. Let's look at this next problem. This next problem, you're going to have to go double parentheses. This one might be a little more challenging. So remember the double parentheses. I'm going to put my 2 minus -6 in parentheses first. Because when I do that, my 2 negatives, if I do my leave, add, change, my 2 negatives equals positives. So this right here would equal 8. So it'd be 2 positive, positive, 8. Then I'd have to multiply it by this 5. You see how I just did that? So now I'm having 8 times a 5, kids, which would give me a 40. Then I'd be adding this 3 here, which would give me a +37. That one's a little more tricky, but you can figure this out. We're going to be doing a lot of practice with this. We have been doing a ton. So let's just continue to watch here. -5 plus 20 divided by 5. I have to get to a -1. So that means I have to break that 20 down pretty small in order to get to a -1. What if I did 20 divided by 5? That would give me 4. I would have a -5 plus a 4. My +4 would take 4 negatives away, which would leave me with 1 negative. This next problem, I have to get to a 10. I have a -2, a 3, and a 4. So to get to a 10, I have to get to a pretty big number. What if I did 3 times 4 and got 12? 12 plus this -2 would give me a +10. This next problem is pretty challenging. It's pretty similar to this problem. You're going to have to be working with some negative numbers and some positive numbers. We have to get to the number 20. We do know when we go 4 times 4, we're going to get 16. So in my mind, I have to be thinking here, okay, what number plus 16 can get me to 20? That number is 4. So can I get to 4 with these numbers right here? That's how you problem solve these, kids. And that's one skill we've been working pretty closely on, is problem solving. What if I took my -3 minus -5? What would I get here? -3 minus -5. Leave, add, change. I'm going to leave my -3. Double negatives, boom. That would give me an answer of a +2. If I have a +2 here, then I can multiply by 2. That would get me to 4, wouldn't it, kids? So I got to get some more parentheses in here. I'm going to put these in parentheses as well. That's how you do this problem. Because if I have a 16 out here, right, whatever gets done in these parentheses here would give me a 2. Then I'd multiply by a 2. Okay. So then I have 16 plus 4, which equals 20. Really take your time tonight when you're watching this video, because this lesson is really going to help you understand some of these more difficult parts of Unit 7. Please take your time, re-watch some certain parts, take a look at these bottom 2 insert parentheses problems, because they tend to be the most challenging for kids to work with, but they're actually kind of fun too, because you're kind of problem solving to try and get to that solution at the end. Hopefully this helped, kids. I look forward to working on some of these problem solving strategies with you in class tomorrow.